Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Fuelstopchats. I'm Chris. That's
I'm
James.
James.
With us
I'm
tonight.
Tracy.
Hi, Tracy. With us tonight,
Hi.
Tracy, Charles. And I tell you what, I was thinking about this interview a lot since we spoke last. And I was thinking to myself, if I were to put a headline on this, and I said, let me run this by so I told my wife, I said, recently widowed woman sells everything she owns, buys a motorcycle, and takes off around the world. And my wife goes, "What?" And I said, if that was the headline or a trailer for a movie, would you tune in? And she goes, "Yeah, I would." And I said, "Well, it turns out we're going to speak to her." So anyway, I was really excited about it. And thank you again for joining us tonight. I can't thank you enough for taking the time.
Thanks for inviting me. This is awesome.
You bet. So you are currently in Colombia.
Yes.
And en route, COVID happened. So let's back up a little bit and start with, how did you get started on this journey?
Okay. So I know I've said it lots of times, but my husband passed away at an early age at 46 from brain cancer, glioblastoma. And it completely and utterly changed my outlook on life. I just started doing things that I hadn't done in many years. I had the travel bug from being a flight attendant years ago. So I picked up backpacking again. I got my scuba license. And then a girlfriend of mine said, "Hey, do you want to get your bike license?" I was like, well, it's not really on my bucket list, but okay, why not? And to be honest, when I first got my license, I sucked at it. I was terrible. I bought a BMW F800, a BMW 800 GT, so more of a crotch rocket. It was too much bike for me at the time. But either way, I decided to take a bike tour through Peru, and it was almost all off-road. And it was on a 650 GS. And I just fell in love with the whole concept of riding off-road, traveling. But I kind of thought that was it. That was the end of it. But when I did come home from that trip in Peru, I bought myself a BMW 700 GS and took a bunch of off-road courses. And at that time, I still didn't think I would be where I am right now. It took another friend to invite me to a motorcycle rally. And I started seeing these women, these amazing women, off-road riders, on-road riders. Horizons Unlimited was huge as well, because at those meetings, you get these people that travel all over the world by motorbike, by big vehicles, whatever. And hearing those stories, I just thought was amazing. Again, at that time, it kind of was in the back of my mind. It would be nice to ride around the world on a motorcycle. Didn't think it was going to happen. But then as time went on, I thought, when I retire, I might try that. But retirement, of course, is many years away. And then there was a shakeup at the company I worked for, and I found myself retired at 53. So yeah, it was, yay. So now I have a 20-year-old daughter that I have to go home to and say, "What do you think, Jamie Lynn? Are you up for selling everything that we own and me sticking you into an apartment while you finish university so mom can travel the world by motorbike?" And most people don't say that to their kids, but Jamie Lynn was 100% behind me. So together we fixed up the house. And I'm talking a house with a pool, gardens, you name it. It was a bit to get everything put together, sell it. It sold really quickly, and they wanted to close in 3 weeks. So I was actually coming home from a BMW MOA rally in Tennessee, and I was in a thunder and lightning storm. I pulled over for a break, checked my phone, and there was an offer from the real estate agent saying, "Hey, listen, this is really good." It was what I was asking. So I literally signed the offer in a thunder and lightning storm beside my motorbike in Tennessee and hightailed it for home. So yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
So then you take off, you're in Canada near
Yes.
Toronto?
Just south of Toronto, an hour south of Toronto.
Okay. You take off from Canada, headed south, and COVID happens.
Yeah. So that was crazy. So as I'm traveling, I got to Colombia a year ago, February, actually. I took a sailboat from Panama City to Cartagena, Colombia. And when you're traveling, you don't really listen to the news. It's because if you did, you would never travel.
Right.
It's right. You'd be too afraid of everything.
Yep.
So I knew that there was a virus in China. I'd seen video of, the hospitals being packed, but again, I didn't really listen to it too much. But as I'm riding through Colombia, just things, you start seeing people selling masks on the corners of the streets. And then one day, a hostel in Finlandia, a small town in Colombia, had put out something saying, we're reopening after renovations, and we're going to start taking in stranded travelers. So if you need help, come here. So I'm like, okay, this is getting serious. I was checking the news. I'm like, oh my God, this is getting really serious. So I fired off an email saying, I'm on my way. I'll be there tonight. And that particular night, I got stuck at the 200 feet away from the tiny little road I needed to get to this hostel in the mountains. There was a roadblock with police, military, doctors, nurses, and some of the nurses were screaming at me. I think I did a live Facebook thing because it was just 4 hours of trying to get to this little tiny road. I didn't even want to go into the town. I just wanted to get to this tiny little road to get to the mountains, and they refused me. So I laid my sleeping bag down beside the roadblock, beside my bike, thought I'll spend the night there. I'll worry about it in the morning. And yeah, when I just started falling asleep, one of the cops and the nurse, I'm not sure if they were boyfriend, girlfriend, but anyway, they came over to me and said, follow us. I'm like, are we going to the hostel? Are we going to Steel Horse? They're nodding, yes, yes, yes. But what they did was they escorted me to the other end of town, and they were pointing me off the wrong direction, and then they took off. I'm like, this is wrong. This is not where I want to go, but I don't want to ride in the dark. So I rerouted the GPS, did a U-turn, and finally made my way to the hostel in the dark. And that little tiny mountain road, getting in there was pretty scary. I don't ride in the dark. At my age, my eyes are shot, so I don't ride in the dark. But this night I did. And I'd also had a couple of warm beers for my bag just before I went to bed. So it was definitely not what I was used to. But I made it to the hostel. It was 6 weeks of lockdown for me as a foreigner. I was not allowed to leave. And the owner of the hostel was only able to go into town once a week. So we would give her our credit cards, our lists for our supplies, the PIN number for our credit cards. It was going from complete independence to dependence in a matter of hours. It was, yeah, it was definitely scary.
So listen, for all our listeners, do you want to run down the card number and PIN number for us?
Yeah.
I'll get that jotted down, Tracy.
I'll give it to you after. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tracy. Speaking of Amazon, no, but so 6 weeks at the hostel. Now you're in a Airbnb place that you rented now, right?
Yes, I'm in an Airbnb place. So I spent 6 weeks at the hostel, and it was a beautiful 5-acre farm in the middle of the Andes. But when you're doing the same thing day after day and there's no end in sight, and you just mentally, I was in a beautiful spot, but like everybody that's stuck in COVID, it plays with your mind. So
yeah,
Canada announced, I should say, I received an email from the Canadian Embassy in Bogota saying this is the last repatriation flight to Canada. And I worked hard to get that flight. I got on it. But once I got on it, I cried because I thought, I failed. I've been defeated by something I can't even see. I thought my whole trip was over. So I went back to Canada, but it was so good because in Canada, after my 2 weeks of quarantine, I was able to do stuff I hadn't done in 6 weeks. I was able to go shop for myself. I could go visit friends. I could travel to the next town. I could do all this stuff. So once in Canada, I bought myself a little Honda CB500X, put a few little Farkles on her, and I literally spent 6 months just traveling and moto camping throughout Ontario and Quebec, because the East Coast in Canada was closed to all Canadians, except for those that live there. But, and then November comes along. And even though I did some camping, moto camping mid-November, you know, the cold weather starts coming, you get snow flurries some mornings. So I had to put the bike away and I had to think about what I was going to do, because I knew for myself that I mentally could not spend a winter in my daughter's apartment, not being able to go outside or not being able to do anything. I made the decision to come back to Colombia, and I researched it. I know it was really tough for me. There was a lot of, I don't want to say hatred on my decision, but there was a lot of people saying, no, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And for me, I was like, I have to go back. And I'm glad I did, because in Colombia, so it was kind of like everything reversed. Canada completely shut down. And here in Colombia, I'm allowed to travel and ride around and enjoy being outside all the time. And it just made me feel so much better that I made the right decision to come back to Colombia.
So where next?
Yeah, that's the question I think that I had too is, so you're in Colombia. And by the way, on your YouTube channel, there's some great video. I love the drone footage. Curious as to what drone you're using. But the red desert, the gray desert, all of the videos that you have on there, absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I'm just starting to get into the YouTube stuff, but that was a Tatacoa Desert. And in the summer, Amazon again, we just talked about ordering on Amazon. I ordered the DJI Mavic Air 2.
So
and I ordered that. No, it's the bigger one.
Okay.
And I ordered that one because it's got a follow me feature where when I'm riding, which I haven't used yet, but when I'm riding my motorbike, this drone can follow me and take some great footage. But it's a work in progress, learning the drone still. I had all summer to do it, but instead I traveled around my motorbike and did nothing with it. But as for where next, so next is Ecuador, and the borders were supposed to open March 1st, but everything changes here by the day, the minute, the hour. And a few days before March 1st, they decide that they're going to extend it to June 1st. My motorbike is good here until May 25th. And I was told that they will not extend my permit for the bike and I have to get out of the country. So I'm currently looking at flying or trucking my motorbike across the Ecuador land border. I can fly into Ecuador. No 2 weeks quarantine. I just need a PCR or PVR test, whatever they call it. But so the air borders are open, the land borders are closed. It's kind of an oxymoron, but yeah, I've still got 2 months before I have to really worry about it. But I've also put some feelers out to see if there's a trucking company that can take my bike over, what airlines that are still operational down here would be willing to fly my bike over, an unexpected expense. And then there's the flip side that for every month that my bike is in Colombia past the permit, I think it's $150 US to pay. So there's also that to think about. As long as they don't confiscate my bike, that's not good. But from what I understand, it's $150 US a month fine once your permit has expired, that I would have to pay to keep the bike in the country. So that's also another option. So there's options out there. I just have to wait and see. For me, June 6th is the last day I can be in Colombia. Then I have to fly out for the rest of the year before I can come back in. So in a couple of months, I'll be stressing about what I'm going to do next.
So if one of our listeners by chance has a way of getting you information, what's the YouTube channel that they could subscribe to your YouTube channel and maybe message you through that?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your preferred, this way, if there's somebody that can help you out with, hey, I got a brother that can get your bike across the border.
Yeah, no, I would so appreciate that. So Instagram is really good. It's TLC_travels. And I believe that's the same for my YouTube channel. My daughter has helped me set all this stuff because I'm
Okay.
not tech savvy. So either way, YouTube or Instagram, it's TLC_travels. And yeah, if somebody knows of some way that's legal to help me get my bike in Ecuador, that'd be
legal.
fantastic.
Well, I don't know about
Legal, James. So, I mean, we're out. We can't.
So none of your friends can
You're
help
gonna
me.
put that
Great.
caveat in there. I don't, you know.
Yeah, sort of killed it with
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, buzzkill. So you were talking about a box of goodies that come from your daughter with some camera gear. You know, what kind of cameras are you using? You talked about the drone. I'm guessing it has a 4K GoPro camera on it already, or
Yeah, it's already got the camera on it. And so I have 2 GoPro Hero 8s that I have. And yeah, some of the roads we get on, I've broken off so many of and it's expensive GoPro, what do I want to call them? Attachments. Mounts, and they break so easily when you get going on those bumpy, rocky roads. So I ordered a bunch more. I ordered some more camera protection cases. The Hero 8s are waterproof.
Yeah.
But even as a scuba diver, I used to put the extra box over top of them because when you go down to depth, you need it. And also too, when you're riding the bike, if a stone hits that GoPro, it's toast. So I have an added layer of protection. So she sent me some cases, some more mounts, some arms so I can try different angles off the bike. Just so when you're doing a GoPro video or you're doing a YouTube video, you're not always looking at the same
Right.
picture, the same view, I should say. And I've done videos like that, and I know they're boring as hell.
Yeah, I ride with a GoPro. James has got a cool setup with the Inovi with a front and rear kind of a dash cam setup. But what I think I like about it the most is he can see the route and he can remember, like, oh, at 1:30 we had that hawk that swooped down in front of us. You can zip to it and it'll bring up the video, but then it shows the road map on a map below that.
Get out. Nice. Cool.
Well, I think the new GoPros have that feature.
The new ones do.
Yeah, the new and it might be the 8 that has that feature as well. You have to download it, I think, with the softwares. I know Mike Watson's got it when he does his track days. You'll have the video, and within the video there'll be like a little watermark of the track, and it shows where he's at on the track and the speed and the
RPMs,
altitude, everything.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check into this. That's something really cool to
yeah, it's a really cool feature.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm kind of, frugal fanny. I got the GoPro 2. I don't know how many years ago. We were riding out in Arizona, and the thing just won't break. I'm waiting for an excuse to get an upgrade for the Hero Blacks. And my wife's like, well, what's wrong with the one you got? And I have to look at her in the eye and go, well, nothing. It works fine.
I know. I still have the Hero 4 that works perfectly.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Because of Amazon again.
If Jeff Bezos, if you're listening, if you're out there listening to us, Mr. Amazon, that's the 13th time we've plugged your. Send me some money.
Yeah, I don't think Jeff Bezos is listening to us.
Hey, you could Amazon your bike from Colombia to Ecuador.
Now you're talking.
So if you're listening, Jeff, we need a plane ride for Tracy's bike from Colombia to Ecuador.
I'm sure Amazon delivers down here a lot too.
Oh yeah. Where don't they? I mean, they're like UPS. What's Brown done for me? It's cool. You're talking about drones. We were talking to UPS for business. They're delivering blood to remote villages in Africa with drones.
I've seen some stuff about that.
Fantastic.
I've heard some crazy stories because all the borders to Venezuela are closed and it's really bad there. And I've heard there's been drone drops of medicine and stuff in Venezuela. It's crazy down here in some of the areas. And in Colombia right now, the amount of Venezuelans that are in the big cities really begging for food, like worse than pre-COVID. And the amount of families with little babies and kids that got shopping carts or suitcases and sleeping bags going through It's heartbreaking to see this right
Yeah.
now. It's crazy.
So you're riding are you still on the F700?
Yes, I'm on the
And
700.
and so try to get to Ecuador, and then Venezuela's closed. So how long do we camp out in Ecuador?
Well, so if I get to Ecuador in the end of May, Peru has closed its borders till September 1st. But there's always the same thing there. The air borders are still open. I can fly in to Peru and somehow ship my bike in. But the problem is it just gets costly after a while. I do know I don't want to fly my bike back to Canada. I don't know where else in the world I could fly it where I could easily cross borders after your 60 or 180 days that they give you, whatever they give you. I don't know any other continent right now that's doing that. So I'm determined to finish off South America if it takes me another year and a half. When I first left in September, I thought for sure I would be down at the bottom of South American Ushuaia by the end of March. And come March, I was only in Colombia. So I realized that my outlook on how I was traveling had already changed, that I slowed down. If I like this town, I'm going to stay there for a week, a couple of weeks, a couple of days. So it's going to take me a few years to finish South America.
Have you talked to anybody like we've done some trips with MotoQuest, and I know MotoQuest has a bunch of different motorcycle tours, and one of the tours they have is, from Patagonia down to Ushuaia, but they may know some because they ship their bikes back and forth too.
Yes. I reached out to quite a popular company in Ecuador, in Quito, and they sent me back saying they don't know. Mind you, they don't know me from a hole in the ground either. But I just said, if you guys have any bikes coming across in trucks or you have any idea, I'm just reaching out. And I got a pretty quick response saying, no, we don't know of any way to get your bike here. So I just kind of dropped it.
I've got a connection with Max Krammel, German guy, US citizen, does tours in Ecuador.
That sounds familiar, that name, Max.
Yeah,
Krammel.
it's Maximal Tours. And I'll reach out to him and see if he's got any ideas, because he's doing Ecuador a lot. And so
Wow,
he may
that
have,
would be awesome.
yeah, so he's got some ideas. He's got great connections with the dealership in Quito and another one closer to the beach. I can't remember the name of the town. Maybe. I can't remember. I'll have to look. But Max and I have been exchanging some emails and thoughts about, touring and stuff and guided tours. And he wanted to turn customers on to history-based guided tours, and I'm turning people his way. But he may have some knowledge. So I'll reach out to Max.
Awesome, Chris. Thank you so much.
See if we can't figure something out.
You never know.
I mean, next month, well, month after next, we'll get on here and we'll say, hey, how's Ecuador?
Yeah, definitely. I'll talk to you guys again. This is fun.
We'll do that. One thing I do want to make sure I got in my notes here, and I know we're at the, we're coming up on the 5-minute mark here.
Actually, we got 10 minutes left.
7:55. I got the clock running.
It's telling me 9:15.
Okay, cool. So I there's and I'm going to say this as politically correct as I can. I have a wife and 2 daughters. When we travel, I pack considerably different than they do.
Yes.
And so I noticed a couple of your video clips and a couple of your photos, and I'm thinking, holy cow, she's really got it condensed in. And what's the secret? So is it all my stuff's at my Airbnb and I'm out?
So recently when I was riding with the Motorrad Angels here, I had taken everything off the bike because in Colombia, lane splitting is just the way to go. Everybody lane splits. And with all my bags on, I wasn't able to lane split. So I took all my side bags off, literally riding naked, so to say.
Yeah.
But when I left home, of course, and everybody leaves in their first trip, I was definitely overloaded. And as I traveled, you realize, okay, I didn't use this, I didn't use that. I'm either sending it home with my daughter or shipping stuff home or just leaving it behind for the locals. And now, yeah, I kind of have it down pat. I've got everything with me. I've got a tent, a stove, pots and pans. I've got some food. I've got tools. I've got extra brake pads. I've got clothing. I've got compressors. I've got you name it. And it's a matter of repeating it every time. And every time you think, oh, wait a minute, this might fit better over here. And you learn a different spot to pack something, or you just realize, like, do I really, so many times I've stayed in a hostel or a hotel and I've literally left like clothing behind, or like the stuff I brought, like duct tape. Duct tape's available all over the world. Why did I carry a roll of duct tape with me? Just stuff like that, right? That you just, I don't need this. So I leave it behind, leave stuff behind. Now I'm very comfortable with how I've packed. I know there's people that will still say that I'm overpacked, and that's okay. But you have to remember that everything I own in the world is on my motorbike. So if it looks a little bit overloaded, that's okay. That's everything that I own.
That's awesome. What tent are you using?
I'm using Eureka Apex. It's a 2-man tent, and it's just big enough. I like to bring most of my stuff inside the tent with me at night.
Yeah.
So it's big enough for me to sleep on one side and have all my gear and my bags on the other. And yeah, I like it. It's easy to put up. It's really quick. The tent poles don't go inside my bag, so they're always strapped. You always see them strapped on top of my bags. But no, it's a great little tent. I've had no issues. I got a good deal on it, so that was even better.
So your daughter's up in Canada. She's going to
Yes.
school.
Yes.
When she finishes university, is Jamie Lynn heading out to wherever mom's at, getting a bike and touring with you?
I wish she would. So currently she has no interest in riding a motorbike. She'll ride on the back of one, but she has no interest in getting her own license at this time. But that's okay, because I only had my license for 7 years. So she's got lots of time to figure out what she wants to do. That being said, I have flown her out for Christmas 2 years in a row. The first year was in Honduras. I flew her out there for Christmas and New Year's. And then this year I flew her into Colombia to San Andreas Island so we could spend the time together. And when she actually graduates this year, so I was told, or she was told, that it's going to be an online graduation. So I don't know if I'm going to go back to Canada for this, if I need to. If not, we've already talked about, if the borders relax a bit, wherever I am, I'll fly her in and we'll spend a week or so together. If she can handle the 2 weeks quarantine when she gets back to Canada again, that's always an issue. And she's working and she'll have student debt soon. So well, yeah, we'll see. But I would love it if she was interested in her bike license. But right now, I think she's more focused on her career, starting her career when she's done university. So
A great time to do it. It's right in between college and career.
yeah, I
Take that year
know,
to
I
travel
know.
the
Because
world
once
with
you start
mom.
that, yes, you start that career and then everything's done for years, right?
Jamie, if you listen to this, you might have a way in to have your mom buy you a motorcycle. I'm just saying.
Ah.
You know, what's her major? What's she planning to do?
So she eventually wants to be in Canada as a special investigations unit in the police force, but she's got to start out at the bottom like everything. So she'll start out being a cop at first, and we always joke that I'll be her first arrest, or she'll oh my God, not you again, mom. So it's our long running joke between the two of us.
Well, I tell you, that's an admirable thing to do.
Yeah.
I tell you, that's a tough one.
It's scary for mom.
She's got 30 years of that that doesn't need to really start until after she takes a trip around the world.
Yeah.
I agree.
And the street smarts that she will learn in the trip around the world will make her 10x the cop that any of her peers would be.
Yeah.
100% agree. That's a really good point. And yeah, I'm gonna make sure she listens to this podcast for sure.
It's true. I tell you, I told
Yes.
my kids that. I said, look, you need to go see what goes on in other countries. You need to understand people, really understand people. And once you do, then you can come back and tell me, okay, now that you've experienced these things, how would
Yes.
you view that? And I think
Well, you won't believe the amount of families that are down here traveling with small children, homeschooling their children.
yeah,
And I swear they get a better education on the
Right.
road. Yeah.
definitely. Well, listen, we're coming up on the 2-minute warning
Okay.
here. I don't want to cut off abruptly.
No
If there's
problem, guys.
one travel tip, one packing tip that you want to share with everybody, what would be the biggest nugget you've learned so far?
Ah, you can buy almost everything on the road that you need. So whether it be clothing, toiletries, anything, you can buy almost everything you need on the road. So yeah, don't worry about packing too much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this with us tonight.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
really
Thank you.
enjoyed talking with you, and I definitely am going to keep track of you. And
Okay.
I'm following you on Instagram. I want to know when Ecuador happens. I want some pictures. I want to do a podcast with you again
Oh,
as
Definitely. Oh, I
as
look
you
forward to
hop
it.
around the world. So who knows? You show up in my neck
Okay.
of the woods, I might fly down and ride with you.
Yay. Well, thank
Tracy-
you guys so much for inviting me and having me to talk with you.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it was so nice to meet you. I wish you the safest and the best of travels. Enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
James.
much.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Chris.
much. You bet.
Okay, guys, take care.
All
You
right.
too.
See ya.
Okay.
Write her out.
Bye.
James, write her out, buddy.
Write her out.